There we go. All right, got him. Okay. So I've told the players they can start any time, and we are into round 9. Wow, pretty good. So we've been streaming since round 3. It's probably a little concerning for me that I'm starting to feel that fatigue from getting up at 4 a.m. here. And I haven't even done all the games in the day. Whereas tomorrow we are going to do another 10. So I need some, like, I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm not a 5 hour energy drinker, but maybe that means tomorrow I'll get the most out of it. Like if I haven't had it before, it'll be especially impactful because I haven't built up any kind of you know resistance to it. All right, here we are. Taj is the play over Haj. Very nice play. Obviously, you've got two T's, so that helps you to make that play if you're Olatunde, as opposed to Haj for many more points. But of course, Taj is significantly more defensive. And Dennis is getting ready to just play YO. That seems pretty good. There are other plays that might balance his rack a little better, but they would all expose him to more damaging plays. When I'm tired and need energy, I play several hours of Infinity Words on Twitch. That sounds like a commercial for Infinity Words. That type of thing. Oh, wow. Check this out. Olatunde with a nice set of letters here. I fully expect him to find Starchy in this situation. Score is currently 20-21. So, yeah, I feel like Starchy really jumps out. Of course, if he doesn't see that, he can play Yotter. Yeah, and he's going to play Yotter. That's going to hit almost as hard as Starchy. Nothing wrong with this play. I think, all things considered, maybe there's a chance that it's slightly more. I don't know. It's equally. I don't think it matters too much between the two plays. So Yotter for 87 gets Olatunde off to the right start, and Dennis, not a great draw of the Q for him. So he was very close to bingoing on his first turn, and now he's drawn a Q that doesn't really do very much for him. I'm not sure how he's going to play it, in fact. So, all right, there we go. Board is pretty visible now. So, what to even do here? You have a good spot for your F, I suppose. An F on top of the Y of Yotter, FE, leaving your Q. That doesn't feel very good, but maybe it's okay. All right, looks like an exchange. Looks like an exchange. So we saw an exchange of some sort. I'm going to assume it was something keeping like EDS, something like that. And Olatunde has a follow-up bingo. Does he see it? Yeah, that was fixed pretty quick. I saw the Q briefly, and it was fixed to a G, which means, are we going to see... Nope. It looks like epigene. 7-letter word, which would have played on top of the T of Taj. Looks like that gets past Olatunde there. So the bingo of epigene would have gone down right there. Instead, the play of sep. Pretty good, leaving INGE. But of course, you would want a bingo if you had seen it there. So let's see. There we go. Board's looking clean again. And very quickly, Dennis plays Dweeb. That looks like a good idea. leaving ERS. Hard to fault that. ERS, one of the nicest leaves that you can get as a 3-tile leave. And I guess the only worry is that your eventual bingos ending in ERS right now are likely to play here, and they do give back a lot in counter to Olatunde. So he plays, wow, does he, what is that, higher? He plays Hing. He plays Hing. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Just H-I-N-G. So that's a valid word. That's a, wow, really interesting. Yeah, it did look like herb to me briefly. So, and wow, to his ERS leave, Dennis draws AAIO, 4 vowels. I do want to talk about Hing in a second because that's an interesting choice by Olatunde. All right, I see the board is not very clear right now, so we'll shift to this right now. Aya looks like a reasonable play. That looks like a very good play, in fact. But we're going to see... Okay, hold on. Boonies and Ayas for 72. That makes a lot of sense. So let me get these scores correct. 228 to 67. Just a nightmare start for Dennis in this game. Not much to say. I don't think he's made a huge misstep yet. I think I have basically agreed with all of his choices here. He is, let's see if he can spot this. Oh, is he going to play Miss Goer? Okay, unfortunately, this is not a word. There is a valid anagram in these letters. I fully expect Olatunde, yeah, he's going to challenge. I would be stunned if he did not challenge, and he does. Yeah, physics points out ogerism. Hing kept BEI. Oh, I probably had that wrong here. Hing kept BEI. Okay. So anyway, Miss Goer is going to come off the board, and in its place is going to go some bingo or other from Olatunde, and it's just going to get worse. He almost has Terrain with a many tile overlap going all the way down here, but not quite. So up will come Miss Goer, and down will come something else. So let me just make sure I have this written correctly. It should be challenged off the board. Terrain is going to play. There are many things that all fit. Rentier, re-enter, anything like that. And we're going to see re-enter. 72 more points. Olatunde playing lightning fast. We've seen that before. Only end plane and uncools, yeah. I don't know if it works that way, where once a challenge is adjudicated that word gets to be added. It probably doesn't. So now Dennis is stuck with the only thing that's available here for him would be Gormiest to the T of Taj. No other bingos. Ogerism would have previously played right here, making ISM parallel to BOO. So this is not going the way Dennis envisioned when he sat down to play here, but that's Scrabble. Olatunde, okay, let me update the records. Actually, the records here are 6.5 wins for Olatunde, 6-2 for Dennis. So these two players right now, Olatunde is in first, and Dennis is in fourth. So this is going to be a huge win for Olatunde that puts him even further into first place. The crazy thing is, if you think about it, we use the margin of victory as a tiebreaker between players that have the same number of wins. And in this particular case, Olatunde is going to have a huge spread, but he has a tie. So it's going to be very difficult for him to have the same number of wins as anybody else. You see the standings down there. There's one other player, Femi, with a tie in 5th place right now, but nobody else with a tie that Olatunde's spread will allow him to break. So that's a shame when that happens. Okay, Gormiest does look like it's going to come down. That is a valid bingo. So nicely spotted by Dennis here. And I think it's going to potentially give up another bingo for Olatunde if he sees it, of Florage through the R of Gormiest. So you can see Florage would go down right here. Let's see if he's playing it. Yup, he's put the first and last letter of it down already. Comes down nearly instantaneously and goes for the clock. And piling on the points here is Olatunde Oduwole, who is going to be really setting Dennis back in this game, winning massively here. Naturally, there will always be an even number of players with a tie. Yes, I think logically speaking, that is definitely true. Sometimes things like that, I feel like there's some tricky exception or other that I don't understand because can be dim-witted about things like that. Wouldn't it be nice if Dennis drew the same rack again and then he could play Smoggier? Oh, wow, look at that. So he has drawn quite well. A pretty good set of tiles for Dennis. He's obviously down way too much to have any chance of winning this game. He's down by 248 points with a pretty sizable chunk of the game to go, in fact. But he can still play some stuff here. Looks like he can play something like Skulker if he sees that. That's kind of nice. There's nothing wrong with him just playing Cluj through the G, scoring 45, leaving RS. He's not winning this game. He doesn't have to worry. He can just do his best to score as many points as he can from here on out. And Cluj might be the best way to do that. You score well, leave RS blank, you're very, very likely to bingo the next turn, whereas after Skulker, you're not all that likely to get 45 points. Maybe you are, with some of the good scoring spots that are open. But I think you'd probably do slightly better playing Cluj here. Purely academic. This is where it would be great in some mythical future that, the way that chess does it and their big tournaments is that they have, live coverage of like a whole bunch of games. So at any point, you can just cut to another game when things are uninteresting with your original game. We haven't reached that point, and I really want to get there. So that's true. If one player gets two ties against different opponents, you would definitely, yeah, but we're really mostly thinking about how it looks in the standings, right? So if that one player gets two ties, they're going to show in the standings as having an even number of wins because in one of their games they won a half game, and then in another one of their games they won a half game. And what that means is that their standings will show a full number. All right, who wants to guess what this blank is? Could it be clunkers? Could it be flunkers, blunkers, or plunkers? That would be 4 different tiles that this could be. I have no idea, and it's very, very unlikely for it to matter. I should say. Can 5 players tie in a circle, and would that be odd? I just don't know. Govern is the play by Olatunde. Potentially a better option for him here might have been to just play Volve instead. This kind of pretty conclusively blocks that G in the triple lane the same way Govern does. You're not getting tripled very much through this. And it uses both your Vs. But Govern is fine. I guess the nice thing about Govern also is it sets up your V in another spot here, right? The V goes right there for potentially pretty good scores. So that you got that going for you with govern. So anyway, 411 to 204 is the score now after Dennis's next bingo. So 2 bingos in a row for Dennis, but it's taken him way too long to get those bingos down. He's exchanged once. He's had a phony be challenged. He played a couple things for really low points. So really not a ton that he could have done about this. So I guess it is worth noting that that S of plunkers or whatever that is, whatever we think that is, clunkers, is just sitting wide open. So I wonder if now is the time, I think now is probably the time for Dennis to make a play like plaid. I think he needs to play something like plaid. Instead, he plays lipoids, which makes a lot of sense. But I like plaid here for the simple reason that after this, now you got 2 possible spots to triple. And maybe, just maybe, you get something that gets you closer in the game. I highly doubt it, but you never know. All right, so we see lipoids instead. That's a reasonable play for sure. Olatunde plays 2 TWO, keeping his QU and S combination. I think that's reasonable. Another play that might even have been better is to just play something like VAW here. That would have left him with squat instead, which I feel like that becomes really nice things for your Q a pretty reasonable amount of the time. Not a big deal. 2 is fine. So, all right. Somebody did play Aya. That's right. I totally forgot. I'm totally out of the Battle Royale mindset, or else I would have been laughing at how Aya was played. Close to Palisado and still be losing via bonus. Yeah. Yep. Even a triple, 9-timer, however you call it, none of those things are really going to help here. Definitely Olatunde's game, just from the get-go. And then Miss Goer really just made it worse. At this point in the game, when Miss Goer was played by Dennis, he was already losing 228 to 67. So had he just bingoed there normally, Olatunde already had a bingo potentially ready to go down. I don't know, where would it have played after Ogorism, though? I'm just curious. Ogorism. Rentier. Reinter. Interior would still, or wait, no. Reorient. I actually don't even know. Whatever. I can't do this in my head. Whoops. All right. So Derek is the play by Dennis. Oddly, even though it left UU, that was his best points and leave combination play, as we call equity play. So nice play by Dennis there. And we see Quim go down through the eye of Gormius. That looks like a slightly better block than playing Quim through the eye of Reinter, which scores slightly better. This looks like it was done specifically to block the I and E of Gormius. So I feel like we've seen almost this exact rack that Dennis has. Didn't we see this in a game? I'm almost positive we saw this in one of our games with Uncools. It was the Uncools rack. Anyway, just Tau is the play alongside Reinter. We're getting close to the end of the game here. And let me make sure the scores are updated. Sorry. All right. So Olatunde has a pretty cool play here. Oh, sorry. I didn't know Quackle was on that screen. on this screen? No. So Vif does in the bottom corner. Very nice. 50 points. 51 points, I should say. Using that S in a very, very strong way. And NNX on the rack. So Olatunde up to 521 here. And to make matters worse, he's got at least one decent X spot. And what was the other? Oh, Teasel. Okay, so Teasel, the play for Dennis, very quickly comes down. X comes down in the best scoring spot. Dennis with just a U. I fully expect him to play. There's a couple U spots that are equal in value. One is here. One is here. He's going to play one of those two. There we go. He plays the top one and ends the game. Yikes. Score of 557 to 333. Olatunde all over Dennis in this one. Wow. Pretty comprehensive, but you know what? That's Scrabble. That really doesn't reflect super bad on Dennis. Obviously, Miss Goer was not what he should have played. Would have been a pretty big inflection point in the game. Let's just save this here. And then I want to go back and see what happens here. If there's any chance for Dennis to win this game, he probably has to play Ogreism instead in this early part of the game. And then, does that somehow... No, it only... So, right, just Tureen. It just leaves Tureen. Sorry. So, who knows? After that, the score of the game is still Olatunde up massively, so it doesn't really help him that much, unfortunately. So, anyway, all right, that's round 9. One more round, and until that's it for the day. Again, here's the schedule. We've made it this far, folks. Rounds 1 through 5, lunch break, and now rounds 6 through 9. We have one more round coming, and then tomorrow we will do it all over again. So I make no promises with when I'm able to wake up, right? Like, I woke up today at 4 a.m., and I think with the intent of attempting to start broadcasting round 2, didn't quite get there. Had to wait till round 3 to get underway. But let me get this quackle off. As the players are squaring, getting ready for the next game. But tomorrow they're going to start half an hour earlier than they did today. So it's going to be even more challenging. So I hope to be able to give you guys as much coverage as possible tomorrow. But I might be with you at maybe round 12 or potentially even round 13 to pick up the stream again. So I apologize in advance if round 11 and 12 have incredible, incredibly exciting, riveting games that we'll never get to watch. But there's only so much I can do. I'm definitely destined for a nice long nap here today at some point. So, yeah, it's been good. Obviously, I will also be trying to figure out what are some ways that we can, make sure that everything is legible and readable. It seems like things have been pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. I'm just going through all my scenes just to check if anything's weird. Stream the nap. Yeah, oxyfenbutazone is getting played in round 11. That would be so sad. So, okay, I think I'm going to take a quick break, drink some water, try to keep my voice fresh. I think I'm going to have to try not to speak for most of the rest of the day. Try to rest that voice, see if we can make it through tomorrow. I think tomorrow we're going to do our best to bring aboard Austin Shin for commentary. I had forgotten. I had thought that was potentially on the table for today, but he has a job that he has to work on Friday. I technically also have a job, but this is that job, partially. So Austin will join me tomorrow, probably after the lunch break or maybe slightly before. And then I have a tentative plan for Conrad Bassett Bouchard to join me for the finals on day 3. What do you give as your job title when people ask what you do? So my job title is my actual job title is Scrabble Expert Manager. I don't really manage anyone or anything. I do a mix of stuff, of course, including this, but that's my technical job title. So I think what I usually do is consider myself to be somewhat of a mix of a content creator and product manager. It's kind of hard. It's hard to explain. Do I manage all the Scrabble experts, or I am an expert manager? Yeah, I guess it's more the latter. Oh man, we got a banger headed your way in round 10. Just getting word that none other than Wellington Jigare is going to take on Olatunde Oduwole. That is a reprise of the Word Wars episode 3 matchup between those two players, which, man, oh man, was that a fun one to watch. So Wellington looks like he has lost a game recently. He's either going to be 5-3. He's either going to be 5-4 or 6-3. Why am I not a Scrabble GM manager? Well, GM is my Scrabble title, but I don't know. Yeah, that was my April Fool's joke as Woogles. Well, that's not true. That initially, the Manigar was a comment made by one of the players. And I turned that into the April Fool's joke for that year, which I was very fond of that video. So Olatunde versus Wellington will be round 10. I think I still do want to take a quick break, like a couple minutes break, but I will be back. This last game is gonna start momentarily, so I definitely advise checking this one out, as it is between two of the strongest players in Nigeria. Oop, I messed up the records though. So it's the reverse is the records for these two guys. And once I figure out how Wellington did in his previous round game, I will update that. Obviously, we saw Olatunde just win his game. So anyway, I'll be back in like a minute or two, and we're going to watch round 10, our final round of the day at the MGI Grand Slam.